Hi guys, how you doing? Well, I just heard the news about Chicago. Now, years ago, we had something called organized crime. Okay? And if you think about what is the term organized crime? Well, basically, a crime is illegal action, right? And because it is illegal and people go to jail, there is no organization behind it like anything else we have. We have sports is organized, but we don't call it organized sports. We have organizations. Companies are organized, but we don't need the term organized. A crime is an illegal act that hopefully results in arrest and jail time. So therefore, you know, we tell people, and it's in the Ten Commandments, thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not steal. Okay. For there to be organized crime, okay, that means and someone has put together and organized a I'm going to say pretend company organization. Okay? It's organized. And what I just heard on the news this morning about what happened in Chicago, I mean, this screams organized crime. This, what I just heard, is like the quintessential part or element of organized crime. What happened in Chicago was so highly organized, okay, that it had nothing to do with any protests. So what did we have? We had a number of caravan automobiles pull up to a location, open their doors. People of the cars, people get out, smash some windows of stores, run in, grab merchandise, items for sale, that is, whether it's clothing, electronics, whatever it is. Rush out with the merchandise, get back into the cars, and the drivers of those cars drive to another location and do it all over again at the new location. Now, if that doesn't scream organized crime, I don't know what does. Okay. I never ever thought I would see something like this in my lifetime. We have advanced so far above this. The mafia is dead. Organized crime is dead. The streets belong to the people once again. But not anymore. The streets no longer belong to the people. Our people. Our fellow Americans. Because now we have regressed back to the Al Capone era, to the 1920s. Interesting that we are now in the 2020s. Now, are we going to replay another century? Go through the 1900s all over again? People again were shot in Chicago, in Washington, D.C. People fighting. There was one case where a fight broke out over masks because one person walked up to a couple and noticed that the woman was not wearing a mask. And so this American walks up to this other American and says, "Hey, your girlfriend is not wearing a mask." And what does the man do? Does he say, "Oh, thank you, I'll take care of it right now"? No. He punches. He fights the guy. So much so, I think they said that he broke his jaw in the fight. I am appalled, disgusted, and highly disappointed at the way some Americans are treating their fellow Americans. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. What are kids being taught these days? I still remember what happened when I was in high school. 1978, class of 1978. Mature, studious, responsible. 79. There was a combination of studious and also a little bit of partying. 78, pretty much the same thing, but we were pretty level-headed. 81, raucous, undisciplined. 82, violent, and started writing graffiti on the walls and destroyed all the exit lights, leaving the lone bulbs hanging there on the ceiling. You know, and it's an eyesore to see these lights blaring for what? There's no exit light to illuminate. And since I had an exit light, well, I don't anymore, so I took the bulbs. I think I used like a paper towel because they were still lit. And I unscrewed the bulbs all the bulbs wherever I saw them. These were good bulbs, and there was nothing to illuminate. So I took them and intended to use them as spares for my extra light. Well, that never happened because it was in storage and it was auctioned off. And I was a kid, yeah. Was that stealing? Yeah, yeah, it was. But like I said, I was a kid. But my theft was basically harmless. Um, and every year I went back once a year to visit the school. Went back in 81, visited the school. 82, 83, 84, 85, and 86. But when 1987 came around, I went, as I always did, to Mr. Yacone's office. And he was happy to see me. And he said, "What are your plans, Jim, today?" I said, "Well, Mr. Yacone, my plan is to go to the main office and get my visitor's pass." Mr. Yacone said, "I'm sorry, you can't. I hate to say this, but you're going to have to leave." I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, a lot of things happened since you were here last. There's been a lot of fights, a lot of injuries, drug confiscations, drugs being found in lockers. There was a raid on all the lockers, and people sneaking guns in through the windows. I mean, it's terrible. We've now installed security officers. They have done away, because there's been a lot of suspicious people around. They've done away with the visitors' pass privilege, and they've installed officers. And if you do not have a student ID card, you will be arrested for trespassing. Even though you're not a student, no one's allowed in. Except teachers, they have IDs. Students have IDs. No civilians. So you better make a hasty retreat, my friend, before any of these officers find you and arrest you for trespassing. I was shocked. He says, "I am so sorry, Jim, that it's come to this." And I made a hasty retreat, and I kept going to my car. And I thought, when the 1981 kids were here, there was so much disruption of kids going through the halls and bothering the other students that they had to mark the walls, which walls were off limits. Then the following year, vandals broke all the exit lights and spray painted graffiti on the walls. And now, several years later, the visitors' pass privilege has been canceled, and security guards installed, and all this terrible thing happened to my beloved school. I said, how much worse could things get? Fast forward to today. This is how bad things have gotten. And why? What's the reason? What's the cause? Why couldn't basic human social rules remain in effect year after year after year after year? Why has there been a breakdown of basic societal rules of respect and behavior? As you know, I'm a student of psychology and sociology. I'm never any student of psychology and sociology. And I'm looking at this through a sociological frame of mind. There has to have been someone somewhere to say this kind of behavior is acceptable. And it is okay to be a vandal. It is okay to be a criminal. It is okay to disrespect other people. Someone somewhere communicated this message to each consecutive school year. Someone somewhere said, beat up people, steal, vandalize, from way back in 1970, 1980. 1980 was the first year I saw witness to vandalism in my school, with the attack on the school exit lights and the graffiti. In 1980. 1980. Now, 40 years ago. I personally saw evidence of vandalism. Now, the question I have is a resounding why. Can anybody give me a reasonable answer to my question of why this was necessary? That vandalism is necessary. Violence is necessary. Because apparently some people thought it was. That vandalism is necessary. We must vandalize. Someone somewhere conveyed this message to a lot of people. I'd like to know why. That respecting others, no, it's not in fashion anymore. Respecting others, authority.